Yeah, this is going to be fun. What is going on, guys? My name is Blake, and I have brought to you today one of my favorite decks, and probably my most used deck in all of Yu-Gi-Oh that I've played. Konami did us a very, very big solid and put a card that I want to play pretty desperately and have always wanted to play at 3 so I am coming to you with a 2022 Qliphort deck profile. I'm very, very excited. Anybody who knows me knows this is the deck I have tested the most, played the most, grinded the most, sweated the most, and played in the most scummy ways humanly possible. So I'm going to bring it into 2022. I've been testing with this deck a fair bit, and I'm pretty confident where we're at. There is some things that can probably change, but I'm going to give you this base list, and then from there we can work out what we're doing. So, what are we doing? We are doing 2 copies of Qliphort Scout. 2, not 3, is probably the question. This is just a staple in every clear list. If you've ever played the deck, you know this is... You pay 8, you feel great, you search any card with those 3 letters in its name. But we're going to play 2 because we're playing a search spell for it. I have found pretty constantly that you can clog on this, especially when your opponent doesn't remove it. A lot of the time, you will just use it over and over and over again, and drawing second copies or second copies of the spell that searches it is a problem. So yeah, just add 2 is fine. Trust me on this one, it's always been the case. 1 Monolith, it's a great card, but it doesn't need to be here. It does a really cool thing, but you do never need more than 1 copy of this card. Always stick it at 1. I cannot see any other argument or reason to have this at 2. 3 Carrier and 3 Helix. This is super standard, absolutely standard list. They're just small boys. You want to draw them. You want to be tributing over the top of them. I'm going to give everybody some theory on the deck and how it will work in 2022 in case you're wondering, but that will be at the end. For now, we'll just go straight through the list with a little bit of logic. 2 Stealth. Again, you don't want to clog on the big boys, so 2 of most of the important ones and maybe sometimes 1. But Stealth is the best card that you want to be normal summoning. Scout is probably the best card of the deck, but Stealth is absolutely the best summonable monster. Your opponent cannot respond to it. You can only ever get judgmented, and if they don't have judgment, you are just wiping boards. You are getting any problem card out of the board, back into the hand or back into the extra deck. It works very, very well against certain meta decks right now, which I love. So yeah, always stick this at 2. I was considering putting it at 3 because of grind games, but realistically, if you're there, it should be fine. And you just really don't want to be tributing over them, so it's fine. 2 Disc. We played 2 Disc. I did have this at 1. But because of the introduction of 3 Skill Drain, 2 Disc means that you can just kill your opponent so often. Also, there is a kind of nuts combo that you can do with Disc when it comes to Helix. I'm just going to make sure... Yeah, cool. That I want to just... I'll show you guys in a bit. 1 Shell, I should have this here. 1 Shell, it's a good OTK piece if you need it. It smashes through, like when people put little birds in defense mode to try and stop you, or they put all random tokens that are left on the field because of certain things. Like, it just does so much damage. A lot of the time, if your opponent has a disrupt or a negate or something, yes, it can be a bit dead, but that's why we played at 1. You could go get it with Scout when needed, and you just finish games with this thing. It is a monster when it's good. The big boy, the large lad, the epic boy, Towers. You are sitting here. You are being an absolute... Oh, no. You're being an absolute idiot with him. He's very difficult to get over. He's very difficult for the current game to get over. The neg 500 on attack and defense when special summon monsters comes in means that there's even less that can get over him. With Sword Soul gonna have a hard time getting over it. It is kind of possible, I guess, but it's such a pain. Yeah, his effect to just get rid of monsters as well, amazing. Big amount of attack that you can swing through. I am considering it at 2 because if they do get over 1, a lot of the time they can't get over the second one. But I think I would prefer having it at 1 for the deck to be more consistent, and so that you can kind of maneuver you maneuver stealth and disc and stuff a bit more than towers. But I would never play the deck without it. Especially when you can get it out first turn, when your hand's fairly decent, it is a menace. We're going 3 Ash, because I would like this deck to be semi-better going second. There are going to be some problems going second with this deck, and I think Ash is probably the one that I've tested. I've been playing a lot of Flunders, and again, Ash is just the better card right now. With Desires going to 1, my opinion might change on this, but I don't particularly love Effect Veiler right now. I don't particularly love Droll or Chalice or whatever, so I'm just sticking with Ash. 3 Sacrifice. This card has way too many effects. So 3 effects, 4 effects. The extra attack is cool, not needed. The can't be destroyed by battle is weirdly relevant if they can't remove you. Because you're making a lot of your Qlis quite big, if they can't get your stuff off the board, you don't have to summon them back. You can just tribute straight over them. It's really good. The free search as soon as it hits the grave is amazing, gets you whatever piece you need, and counting as 2 tributes can help you get out a stealth when they don't think you can, or a towers when you just want to be a pain in the ass. 3 Summoner's Art, search your dudes, super simple. 3 Pot of Duality, I might cut this down to 2, because sometimes it clashes with when you want to pen summon and then tribute, but most of the time I'm using this on turn 1 or turn 2. It's fine. It has been a good way to get to my other cards. 3 Extrav. The only thing this clashes with is Monolith, and the 1 copy of Card of Demise. It has not come up. So far in testing, I either have one or the other, and every single time I'm happy to see both. It can come up. You can probably go Extrav into Card of Demise or Extrav into Monolith into Tribute, and you're not able to draw. I totally understand that. I would just be happy to sacrifice this over consistency. 1 Card of Demise. It's at 1. We have to play it at 1. This card is amazing. Yes, you sometimes have to discard monsters. It just happens. But I will play that 100. I will always take that risk when you have the Monolith combo and you've got so many good things to set. You can set all of this stuff, worst case scenario. If anybody's wondering, Card of Demise says, so you draw 3, we play with Card of Demise enough, but it says, during the end phase, discard your hand. Monolith also says during the end phase draw. You get to choose the way this order goes off. So at the end of your turn, if you've tributed for a stealth, you say, okay, no problem, I'll draw 3, tribute someone for stealth, do a bunch of stuff. You go to your own phase, you say, Card of Demise activate, discard the hand, maybe 1, 2, whatever, 0 cards, it doesn't matter. Discard the hand, then Monolith in end phase, draw 2 cards, or draw 3 cards, and you have a refilled hand. Tactics, you can also say Tactics clashes with Extrav, I just don't care. I could not care less about that. This card has 2 other banned effects attached to it. All of them are good. Yes, okay, if you get ashed after extraving and you're going first, you just rip a card out of your opponent's hand. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. Or you just steal them. Like, this card is so good. It is so good. And for the times that it doesn't work, I'm happy to just have it in my hand and ready to go for next turn. It is so good. I'm keeping this at 3. Not inside at all. It's not happening. 3 Skill Drain. There's a little bit to talk about with this card. Yes, just absolutely dumpstering your opponent and not letting them play the game is amazing. The way this works in this deck, for anybody who hasn't played, all of the Qlis, when special summoned out or normal summoned without tributing, will become level 4 and 1800 attack. If their effects are negated by a spell or a trap, or a monster, they go back up to their original attack and level. The thing about that, and what can happen the most, and what I've done the most, is, yes, you can just swing and kill people. You can go disc, activate your skill drain. You have 3 things with over 2k attack. You're just swinging for a huge amount of damage. Or pen summon 4, pen summon 5, pen summon 3, whatever it is, with skill drain already on the board, and then you just punch them to death. It is a lot of damage. However, with skill drain being at 3 and more consistent, you can consider this. Helix can pop any spell and trap on the field when it is tributed. When it is tributed, it activates in the extra, on the top of the extra deck, or the face up in the extra deck, however they say pendulums. If this is the case, and you have negated your Qlis already, and there are Qlis on the board that you've already negated by Skill Drain being up, you tribute, you get negated again, or you pen summon, then tribute, get negated, pop the Skill Drain with Helix, all of your Qlis are now, have their effects again, but they have their effects at their original level and at their original attack. This is relevant because all Qlis are unaffected by any monster or with a rank or level lower than it. So if you have a stealth and a disc, or a stealth and a shell, or a bunch of stuff out, and your opponent is playing decks such as birds or flunders or stuff like this, you can make your stuff unaffected so easily. And it's so hard for them to deal with. Yes, absolutely, they can use links to get over it, but there is not much good linking based decks right now. It is just so hard to deal with. And on top of that, they're having to play around potentially another skill drain or 3 lose a turn. Lose 1 turn. We have gone over this. I've gone over this with Loz and like some other people in my testing group. I think this is the best floodgate to play right now. I considered Rivalry, Goes and Match, stuff like this, but it's not good enough. And I think Lose a Turn is. When you're looking against Sword Soul, for example, or Birds, or Adventure Token, I don't actually know how good this is against Adventure Token. Someone needs to correct me on this. I have no idea how this goes against Adventure Token. But you look at a situation where if your opponent goes random Sword Soul garbage and you lose 1 turn them, yes, they can still kind of get to a place, but where they can get to is nowhere near as far as they can. They get the Fleur negated, switch defense, Chi-Chow negated, switch defense. They have a problem. And they have a problem because Stealth is a card. When they're negated and switch to defense, they aren't doing anything to your board. They can't get through your board. When they can't get through your board, a pen summon and then a normal stealth, we will dumpster their board. It will dumpster it. They cannot negate it with Fleur. They cannot negate it with Chi-Chow. The only thing they can do, they can't even respond with their trap. They would have to use the trap on enough stuff, or your maybe your scales or whatever it might be. If they were able to search the trap in the first place, which they can't really do under lose 1 turn, it is very, very tough for them to get back in that game. Birds just struggle with this. Yes, we might not see as much of them given the ban list, but they struggle past this card. And this interacts the same way that I was talking about Skill Drain interacting not too long ago. Any special summoned Qli, pen summoned out in any way, will be negated by lose a turn and put in defense. The moment you pass that turn, they are not negated anymore. Their original level, their original attack, and they are unaffected by anything lower than it. It is amazing protection to have. So yeah, that's the main deck. 40 cards, flat. I was considering Imperm in here just to make going second a little bit better. So far, I don't particularly care. The games that my opponent opens up completely ballistically and sets up way too many things for me to get through. It's fine. Side deck will come a big way into that. If you want a side deck for this deck, guys, I'm happy to leave it probably in the description or something, or I'll comment it and pin the comment, because right now I'm unsure what the meta is going to shape up like. I imagine a lot of adventure, a lot of Sword Soul still, so I'll work out a side deck for that if you guys are keen. Going to the extra deck, most of it doesn't matter. You will not be summoning a lot of this. Genius isn't bad. If somebody doesn't know what Genius does, Link Summon monster card is unaffected by spells or traps and the activated effects of other Link monsters. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up card on the field, on each player's field, except this card. Both of those cards have their effects negated until the end of the turn. This is very good because you can negate your own Qli. The attack will bolster, then you smash over, go to your opponent's turn, they're unaffected. Same thing I was talking about. When 2 or more 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time to the zones as card points, you can add 1 level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck. It's a generic searcher for most Qlis. Decent card. Fine. comes up sometimes. I don't particularly care. It's not bad for on-spot negation, kind of forcing things out to say, okay, I've pen summoned a bunch, go into Genius, negate your thing, and then you kind of force them to respond. Otherwise, you will just go off. So that's kind of cool. The CDI package is in here because, technically speaking, if you don't have scales up and you get these on the board, there's like stuff you can do with like special summoning out, pen summoning out Scout and Monolith, and then go. It doesn't come up. I'm going to be honest. It's cute. That's why the rest of these are just random fusions. They're just cards for extra. Just get rid of them. But yes, that is the deck profile, guys. Yeah, if you're a big fan of Pendulum or the way this deck played or have played this deck before, I would really recommend it. Yes, it is not the most interactive thing in the world. It is not the nicest thing in the world to play. It is fairly scummy. Triple skill drain, triple loser turn really does mean your opponent doesn't get to play much of the game. Absolutely, you can side heavier traps for going second. You can side big second cards. Heavier traps for going first, or big second cards for going second. So you can kind of break boards and then start normaling and start using Scout and all that to move. This deck could be faster. Playing like a Turbo Towers build now is kind of difficult, but you could maybe build like that. Decks right now are quite fast, and for a deck that came out in 2015 or 2014 to keep up is tough, but it's a load of fun. I'm going to probably be building this on Master Duel as well to see kind of where I could get with it, especially with Kaiser Coliseum and a lot of other options just to see where I could take it. But remember, guys, if you like the video, chuck us a like, comment down below anything you would change about the deck. I'm really curious. This is just my initial idea for the deck. I'm trying to make it as consistent as possible and as good as possible. So any ideas, feel free. I'll be chatting there a lot. And if you like this content or more Hearthstone content, which will be coming to the channel, I'll probably be doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Hearthstone. Chuck us a subscribe and appreciate it. All right, see you guys.